Hey guys, hey, it is a great day here at JRA, 12 noon Eastern time on Thursday. That means it's time to make hay with JRA. I am Lee Godbold with Junk Removal Authority. We got the video extraordinaire Aaron back there running the show. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave in comments on either Facebook or YouTube. Today, we're talking about a topic I really enjoy talking about. That's money. That's money in junk removal. That is a junk removal millionaire. Not one yet. How can you become it? We're gonna delve into the details on this to show you how you can achieve millionaire status and hopefully multi-millionaire status with your junk removal business. Several people out there say it can't be done. Several people out there say you shouldn't aim for that. You should just stay on your truck. You should go out there. You should do your jobs and just kind of enjoy life. I'm saying you could achieve that status while enjoying life and probably having a heck of a lot more freedom along the way too. Again, guys, you can watch us on Facebook and YouTube. Give us comments, questions. We're going to cover them today on Making Hay with JRA. So, hey, the very first thing we're going to go through what is a millionaire? It ain't what it used to be, but what exactly is it? The official definition, if you look up on the computer for a millionaire, is somebody whose assets exceed $1 million. And that's not really a millionaire. So I guess the official definition that I like to go off of is a net worth millionaire. So that is somebody whose assets minus their liabilities exceed $1 million. And that number is growing all the time. Again, a millionaire now isn't what it was 20 years ago. So the net worth millionaire is kind of what we're going after here. It does not mean you have to have $1 million in cash. There are tons of millionaires out there, multi-millionaires that do not have $1 million in cash. Maybe they could come up with it, but they'd likely have to sell off a lot of assets to actually achieve that. They've got it in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, their business. You know, most of my net worth is within my businesses. Other than the airplane, heck, the airplane's in the business. It's a business tool as well. So other than my house and one or two vehicles, everything else that I've got is pretty much inside of that business. And most millionaires are going to have it tied up in businesses or some other type of asset. Having $1 million laying around in cash anyway, that shouldn't be your goal to get $1 million in cash because it's being wasteful. That cash can be spent somewhere else, some sort of investment in your business or that real estate like we were talking about to help you achieve an even greater net worth. Have people in junk removal done it before? So again, what I kind of started right here, what I started with on the beginning of this episode was talking about there are some guys out there that say you should not aim for that in junk removal. You shouldn't get into junk removal if you have these grandiose ideas of achieving great wealth. You know, some people say this is just a job for you to go out. It's an easy job. You know, it's a pretty easy job. You go out, you enjoy the day, you get a good workout in. You enjoy kind of the fruits of your labor and seeing stuff get done. But people have made it big already in this business. I mean, number one, now he didn't make it in junk removal itself. He made it by selling franchises. But Brian Scudamore, I have no idea what he's worth. I can tell you 1-800-GOT-JUNK is worth in excess of $100 million. Waste Management about, 5-6 years ago, I think offered them, I can't remember the exact number, it was $35 or $40 million to purchase it, and they've grown. That was in the middle of the recession. They've grown tremendously since then. So, I mean, that guy, he's made it big. The College Hunks guys, Nick Friedman, Omar, I can't remember his last name, Solomon, I can't remember how you pronounce it. Those two guys have made it big in this business, selling franchises. But then you've got the individual guys. You've got individual business owners out there that have achieved millionaire status. A lot of the Got Junk franchisees have. I mean, heck, if you look at it, Got Junk, I don't know the exact revenue just for Got Junk. I think all of the O2E brands, which is Scudamore's company that manages his moving business, You Move Me, 1-800-GOT-JUNK, obviously, Shack, I think it's called Shack Shine, and the painting company, 1-a-day painting or 24-hour painting or whatever, they did over $300 million. I'm going to guess that at least $200 million of that is Got Junk, but I'm not positive of that. Talking about Shack Shine, Aaron, did you see we might be getting a Shake Shack in Cary nearby? You ever eaten a Shake Shack?
I didn't know we had one coming in, but yeah,
It's about to open away. Yeah. So Shake Shack, I believe, is coming to North Carolina. I'm pretty excited about that because whenever, in New York and everything, that's the place to get a great burger. So, Got Junk, 200 million in sales. They've got about 170 franchisees, so that tells you right there on average, the average sales for a Got Junk franchise exceeds $1 million. And you have a lot of those franchises doing excess, or some doing excess of 10 million, some doing 500,000, but on average, they're over $1 million. 20% profit margins, folks. That means at $1 million, 20% profit margins. In several years, you could achieve millionaire status with that. So, we got any questions at all before we move on this? We still good? Good deal. Okay. So the very first thing that I want everybody to do, if you decide, hey, I want to achieve millionaire status, or I want to get 10 million or 5 million or whatever, you got to do the math. So what does it, if you look at a number, if you say, all right, I want to achieve this net worth level, it's always, if you do the math, it simplifies it. It makes it seem more doable. If you look and say, hey, I want to be worth, let's just use the $1 million. I want to be worth $1 million. And you're sitting here and you're worth $1,000 or $10,000, that number seems so large, it seems almost unattainable. What helps is when you actually break it down and you do some simple math. So before we're gonna actually break this down, I'm gonna tell you what you need and how many period of time to achieve $1 million net worth. But the first thing you need to really understand is gross sales, exactly what they are, because gross sales and net profit get mixed up all the time. Gross and net get mixed up. Your profit margin. So this is going to be a percentage. Your profit margin percentage. You need to understand that. And then what your profit in itself is. This is going to be your net. So let me put net, because that's what people mess up. People know what profit is. They get gross and net messed up. So your gross sales, that's your total number of sales. So if you have a company that does $1 million in sales, that is all the money that company brought in before paying expenses. Your net is going to be what is left over after you pay. So your net is your profit. So that is, if you brought in $1 million, that's your gross. If you had $800,000 worth of expenses, then that means $200,000 is your net. The very first number for you to achieve millionaire status, you need to have a great net. But you're never going to achieve a great net profit without first increasing sales. So you need to know so first thing you need to know is how much profit and then what period of time do I need to achieve millionaire status. So net needed in what time? So let's say you want to get to $1 million. Well, obviously, if you profit $1 million in 1 year, you have achieved millionaire status. If you profit $500K in 2 years, that is millionaire status. If you get to $100K in 10 years or $50K in 20 years, again, what is that? That is millionaire status. So what I'm showing you here, guys, is becoming a millionaire is not all that difficult. It's just a matter of if you're going to be able to stay focused, you got to stay focused. Otherwise, everybody out there, everybody on this planet should at some point become a millionaire in their life. But people don't stay focused, and they don't really believe that it's possible to do. 100K in 10 years, or just 50K in 20. Every single one of you at some point in your life is going to probably reach the 50K a year platform. Everybody out there that's watching this, running a junk removal business, you have the potential to make 100K in 10 years, or 100K a year. If you make 100K, this is a little off here. This is $1 million a year, you can do it in 1 year. 500K a year, you can do it in 2 years. Every single one of you has the potential to make 100K a year and do it for 10 years. That is going to give you a millionaire, or that's going to be $1 million worth of profit here. Again, this isn't just sales, this is profit. 100K in 10 years on profit. So you got to decide, one, what you think you can achieve, and two, what do you really desire? what I'm going to tell every single one of you is this. None of this is rocket science. Every single one of these levels you yourself can achieve, but you got to 100% believe you're going to be able to do it first. If you're sitting there and you're making 25 or 30K a year, you're going to laugh your ass off if I sit there and tell you that you can make $1 million profit in 1 year. This is probably that you want to maybe eventually get here. Let's set some milestones in the process of it. So what we need to decide is, this is your net. What gross sales do you need to achieve that level? So the industry standard for junk removal is about 20% profit margins. So if you bring in $100,000, you're going to profit somewhere around $20,000. Now, these numbers are a bit skewed on the lower. On the lower end, depending on how hard you're advertising, that number could be way higher. So if you've been in business for several years, and 4, 5, 6 years, and you bring in $100,000, you might profit $70,000. But what you're not really accounting for, you might make $70,000, but you're not accounting for what your salary should be. So if you're running $100K a year junk removal business, if you're out there and you're on all the jobs, you're doing all the jobs, you're taking the calls, you're keeping the books, you're making the bank deposit, you're doing everything there is. You're purchasing the trucks, you're maintaining the trucks. You're doing everything that has to get done for your junk removal business. Your junk removal business doesn't earn a penny without you. You're probably worth $50,000. So that means your company profited what? It profited 20% or $20,000 on top of that. And who knows, if you're working 70 or 80 hours a week, with some of you guys might need, your prices are so low, you might need to work 70 or 80 hours a week to get 100K in sales. You're worth a lot more. That means your business didn't even profit. That means you're basically working for less than you could go and work for somebody else. It's always something to keep in mind. So you always want to know what your salary, you always want to make sure you're paying yourself a fair salary, or at least tracking what that really is, because your business profit, that needs to be after you pay yourself. After you pay yourself, guys. When somebody asks you how much money does your business earn, they normally want to know how much money you yourself are making. And if you want to tell them a higher figure, you can. But between your salary and your profit, if you want to tell them that total figure, if you want to tell them at all, then you can certainly do that. But you yourself needs to understand that if you're worth 70K a year, your business earns 100K a year, but you didn't account for the 70K a year that you're worth, your business only profited $30,000, guys. You got a smaller company than you really think you have. So, sales. What gross sales do you need to achieve $1 million a year profit? You need $5 million in sales. To achieve $500K a year profit, you need $2.5 million in sales. To achieve $100K a year profit, you need $500K in sales. Again, guys, this is gross right here. And finally, to achieve $50K a year profit, you need $250,000 in sales. That's it right there, guys. 200. That's how you achieve it with those 20% margins. So let's break this down further. How many jobs is this? How many jobs do you need? This is where it becomes important for you to really understand what is your average job, because your pricing here affects this 100%. So if you take your, all right, let's go with, and let's work with this. Let's say you want to earn $500K a year on the 2.5 million. Let me show you how important pricing is here, guys. You got $2,500,000 in sales. This is what's going to get you $2,500,000. That's what's going to get you $500K a year profit. So if your average job is $400, what you need off of that is 6,250 jobs. $400, the majority of Got Junk and College Hunks franchises throughout the country, their average job is $400. Junk doctors, we're coming in about $350. So at $2,500,000, we divide that out by 350. We're coming in at 7,142 jobs. All right, And then let's go a little bit further here. You got most of you guys are under $300. Most independent junk haulers are under $300. I'm gonna put it at $300. So at $300, you need 8,333 jobs throughout the course of the year to get you that $2.5 million in sales. So the difference between $400 and $300 is over 2,000 jobs. It's like 2,080 jobs, something like that. That's a big difference, guys. That is why it's so important for you guys to get this average job up. If you guys are out there lowballing, you're never going to be able to achieve enough profit that you can reinvest back in advertising to get these jobs here. So we got any questions in here or anything at all? Questions, comments? Okay, any questions, comments, guys, on this? Please ask. If you want us to run your numbers, if you're currently saying, I've got this number of sales, what should my profit be at? I'd be happy to run those through for you guys. So how are you going to reach this goal? What do you need to know in order to achieve this right here? Number one, you got to know that average job. So that average job has to be high enough to achieve this. You got to be at minimum $300. You're not going to do this for less, because the issue is below 300, your profit wipes out, where you can't do the more expensive forms of advertising, the higher acquisition cost advertising, which actually brings you in more jobs. This is one of the most, if customer acquisition cost is extremely important. Your average job, without a higher average job, you cannot do the higher CAC stuff. It's very important to get this up to at least 300 and to aim for 400. To do that, you're going to have one professional business. You're going to have great branding. You're going to have great guys. You're going to have people that answer the phone that sound professional, know how to sell. There's a lot of stuff that goes into being able to demand this higher price. People have to see the value, but you need to get that price up just as quickly as you can. Your expense percentages. This is something, it's amazing to me how few individuals know what their expense percentages are. That is expense, that is the amount you pay, your expense divided by your gross sales. So for example, if you spend $10,000, this is going to be a little high, let's say disposal, $10,000 on disposal fees. So at the landfill, you have $100,000 in sales, you've got a 10% expense percentage there. You've got to know every single one of these numbers for you to be able to grow this business. All business is numbers. You guys complicate it a lot. All it is numbers. It's numbers and people. But if you know your numbers, if your numbers make sense, it's just a matter of multiplying. If you're profitable at where you're at with the number of jobs you are, let's say if you're currently making $100,000 in a year and you want to get that to $1 million, well, you got to do 10 times what you're currently doing, and then that's going to get you to that $1 million. So you got to know those expense job percentages so you actually know if you're profitable or not. Your profit margin, you got to know that profit margin. So your profit margin is all that is your profit divided by gross. So again, guys, if you got if you had $200,000 in profit, you grossed $1 million in sales, you have a 20% profit margin. What you don't want, which is going to increase the amount of time, is going to make it much more difficult to achieve millionaire status, is you don't want this profit percentage to be lower. So what you don't want is a profit percentage of, let's say you profited $50,000 on $2 million in sales. This is after paying your salary and all expenses and so on and so forth. Guys, that's not but a 2.5% profit margin. So you're not going to achieve a whole lot at 2.5%. Yeah, you're real busy. You got your great company going, but your profit margins suck. Here's what I want to tell everybody, though. We're going to get to. You focus on growth. You want to watch your net. You want to try and make sure you're at least being profitable enough. You have money to reinvest back into your company. That's the reason net's important before you grow. Gross is the first number you want to focus on. If you focus on achieving gross, then once you achieve the level you're going after, then you really focus in on net, on maximizing your profit. That's when you're going to achieve these levels. Sales solve everything. You're not going to save your way to millionaire status in this business. It is going to require you in in a shorter period of time. You might be able to save your way to $1 million worth of net worth over 20 years in this business, maybe over 10 or 15. But if you're wanting to do it in 5 years, you're going to have to get your sales up, which is going to involve quite a bit of investment and worrying a lot about sales and less about net. Got a question? What we got?
Yeah, so we got a question coming in from Junk Masters on YouTube and asking about how do we make our average job at 300 plus. I gave short answer, raise prices, target better customers, but I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, getting the I mean that's the main answer. I mean, you talking about getting those average pricing up, the pricing up. If your main advertising strategy is that you're cheaper than the competition, you're never going to be able to achieve that higher level of profit. It's just not going to happen. You've got to just raise prices, and you have to learn how to sell on the phone. And then you reach the correct customers. So the first thing, you raise your prices. The second, you reach the correct customers. The third, you know how to sell. If you pick up that phone, and you need to be closing 75% of your jobs. If you're not, you're either one, reaching the wrong customers, or two, you don't know how to sell that job. That's how you're going to be able to get those prices up. Customers are really not as price sensitive as people believe they are in junk removal. At least not the right customers. If you're on Craigslist, some Yelp customers are, not all, but some Yelp customers are really, really price sensitive. Majority of them aren't. Get those prices up. You're not only going to help yourself, you're going to help the rest of the industry by getting your prices up, and you're going to help out your, everybody as a whole is going to, in this junk removal industry as a whole, is going to be better if the people that are lowballing start raising your prices up. Now, people will move in tow. It's funny, here in North Carolina, junk doctors, every time we raise prices, Got Junk goes up. And first I thought it was coincidence, but it's not. Got Junk wants to maintain just a little bit of an advantage over us. So we just recently raised our portfolio rate up to 540. And I haven't verified they raised theirs up. I know the last time we went to 515, they were at like 520. We raised to 515. They went to 540. Well, we just went to 540. And I bet you if we looked at Got Junk, they probably are up to about 570 or so now. What's going to happen is the bottom guys, if they force their prices up, it's going to force the top guys are going to go up as well. And some of these guys will still be able to claim they're cheaper, but they'll be making more money while they're at it, and the guys up top will be making more money. Everybody will be doing a heck of a lot better if we can get rid of these people trying to do it for dirt cheap. Any other questions?
Yeah, we've got one in from Rick on Facebook. Our revenue is $350K for 2018. What should our profit be in your experience?
Well, 20% is the average profit margin, but here again, it's how aggressive are you really being on advertising? Did he say you opened in 2018? Is that what he said? The revenue in 18 was 350 or 420?
350.
350. Okay, gotcha. So 350K at 20%. I mean, obviously you're looking at $70,000 profit. But if you're new in business, and if you're being aggressive on your advertising, I mean that could be 50,000. It could really be that low. That's one of the reasons I'm telling you, if you're spending money, if your expenses, if you're 25% of your advertising budget is going out on this gross of gross, if you're 20 or 25% on your percentage, then almost don't worry about your net profit. You want to watch your net almost before advertising. So look at your net before advertising, and as long as your advertising is profitable, or at least breaking even on it, keep doing it, guys. If you guys have really, really large goals. Now, if you're coming to me and you've been in business 10 years, and you're happy at $350K a year, I mean and that's just where you're established. An established business at $350K a year after 7-8 years in business, you're probably earning $70,000. Maybe a bit more, maybe $100,000, especially if you're going out on the truck. If you guys are going out on the truck, you're earning, you could be earning $150 on that $350. Now, obviously to get $350, it's going to require a second crew, but you also, again, you got to account for your salary. So again, I'm talking about after you pay yourself, this is potentially what you're looking at. If you're being ultra aggressive on advertising at $350K, if you pay yourself a fair salary, chances are your business isn't profitable at all. But you're being aggressive to grow to get this thing to $1 million, $2 million, heck, $5 million. We hadn't hit $5 million yet. We're going for it. But if that's what your goal is, you just keep spending till you achieve what you want. I don't know how many of you guys are racing fans. I'm gonna guess not a whole lot, but I'm a pretty big racing fan. I did a little bit of it years ago, and that before I got into junk removal, and I remember there's a race back in 2000, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was a rookie at that point, it was the All-Star race, and he was running, I think, in third spot. There's like 5 or 6 laps remaining, and a caution comes out. So he had the option. People had the option to pit. Most of these guys did not pit, but Earnhardt Jr. did. He came in, he got 4 fresh tires, and I think he came out in sixth or seventh spot with like 2 or 3 laps that are going to be remaining in that race. A lot of guys behind him did not. Obviously, they elected to stay out to get track position. He knew at third place. I remember afterwards on when they interviewed him, he said, we were running third, but we knew we didn't have what it took to win, and we didn't come here to run second or third. We came here to take all the money. And so he was like, so it was an easy decision to us. We had to come in and get 4 tires because we were not going to have the car to win without 4 tires. He came in, he got 4 tires, in 2 or 3 laps, he rocketed up towards the front and wound up winning the race. And I think it was like $1 million payout. That right there is kind of how you need to approach this deal. Is you need to figure out what you came for, and until you reach that level, then you don't work. You pay a little less attention to net. So you keep advertising hard, you keep adding trucks, you keep adding crews, you keep adding people until you've achieved that goal that you've got. Then you can focus in on that. Now, if you're like us, you hit your goal and you're like, well, shoot, let's go for the next goal. And then over time, I mean, once you get to a couple $1 million a year, even if you're reinvesting a lot back into advertising, you're still making really good money. But at $350K right there at the start, it just depends on how aggressive you're going to be as to how much money you're going to make. Any other questions?
Yeah, we got a few coming in. We got one from Fast Junk Hauling on YouTube. I know you guys are currently helping a couple companies in the area that is close to me, Sacramento. Have you greatly improved their numbers?
Yeah, I mean, you can ask Ivan, Junk Guys, Sacramento. You can ask him. Junk Responders. I can't go into a whole lot of details on what some of these guys have going on, but I mean, yeah, I mean, Ivan's been public. He's posted stuff online. He's really, really improved, and Junk Responders in an expansion mode as well. So. Yeah, I mean, for sure, most of these guys around the country, if they give us a little bit of time, we're going to be able to improve it. I'm not going to be here and say, you're not going to start our Google Ads management service. You're not going to start our Facebook commercial campaign. We're not going to put a website out for you and it immediately flip a switch. None of this stuff is instantaneous. But what it is if you get in there and you get started and you're a little bit patient as we kind of get this stuff calibrated, it's going to work out for you. And heck, we might get in a market and we determine Google Ads isn't for you, or Google Ads works in every market out there if you're willing to spend the money. So, Junk Doctors, we spend $300,000 a year on Google Ads, $250,000 a year on Google Ads, but you're not going to be able to do that when you first get started out unless you have a little bit of money before. So you're going to need to look to other methods to get work. There's markets out there that are a little less competitive, where Google Ads does fantastic. There's some markets out there where you have to you need a monthly budget of $15,000 a month to be able to be really, really competitive. That doesn't mean you don't do Google Ads, but you probably don't go after that number 1 spot. Instead, you go after a 3rd or 4th position, and you're a little less conservative, but you're taking money and you're going into Facebook ads, or you're going into focusing on Yelp. Yelp in California is huge. So you've got to figure out what works. The nice thing with us, if you come to us and you want us to do a Google Ads and we get in there and we determine, hey, we've tried several different things, the acquisition cost is a bit high, maybe you're getting jobs, but it's not being extremely profitable. Let's move this into this form of advertising here, like Facebook commercials. And that is the nice thing about us. A lot of advertising agencies, I would say most, are not going to do that. They're going to be dead set on making the thing you hired them for work. We're going to use our business experience to advise you. You make the ultimate call, but we're going to advise you in which direction to go.
So we've got another one coming in from Junk Masters. What do you feel is the most a one-truck business can realistically make a year?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what market you're in. I mean, I don't know if you're the I'm not sure if you're our competitor here in the Raleigh area, or I know there's a Junk Masters in New York and everything, but it depends what market you're in. If you're in the Raleigh area, you can do about $280K on one truck, maybe 300. It depends on that average cost. If your average is $300, you can do probably 270 off of one truck, 250. If it's 350, you're closer to 300K. If it's $400 average, you can do closer to 350K. Those numbers aren't exactly exact. I'm not punching in on the calculator, but that's about what you're looking at per truck.
Yeah, and he's in Las Vegas, about 1 million population in that area.
Cool. Yeah. I don't know. I think Vegas. Well, I'm not sure. Nevada. I know Nevada as a whole, I think, is a fairly inexpensive place to live, but I imagine Vegas probably isn't the case there. Just depends on what your average job is, what your disposal fees are, as to how much you can get on a truck. But figure somewhere in the neighborhood of give or take 300K.
And we've got one more question coming in from Good Karma E-Cycling. Would you say bandit signs are a must? Do they produce?
Signage, I don't know if they're a must or not, but I mean, signage is great if it's branded properly. If it's just got your business name on it, I don't know how, maybe it's effective, but, if you can ever create something really unique, I don't know if you guys saw, but Mr. Junk, now we're not licensing Mr. Junk for use on side of trucks at the moment anyway, but we're going to put him on the side of Junk Doctor's trucks. That's memorable. We're going to create yard signs with him on it. That's memorable. If it's just regular old signs, that you can get some work from them, but you got to get attention. You got to get it where people remember you. They see so much advertising now. What are you doing to get remembered? Any other thing? We good? All right, guys. Let's keep on rolling then. So, know your profit margin. We talked about that. You got to be ultra obsessed with your business if you're going to achieve this. And profit, when you hire people, what happens when people hire their first few employees, they're very nervous about hiring these individuals. They're very nervous about giving up control. Well, you realize how nice it is to have these people doing most of these tasks. And if you're not careful, you're going to not watch them as closely. You're not going to watch your numbers closely as before. So you want to give them leeway to do their job properly, but you want to tell them what you expect. You need to set expectations, have systems in place on how they need to achieve it. Maybe there's a little bit of leeway on how they carry their stuff out, but you need to make sure they're getting the job done, their average job is being quoted correctly, have those end of job pictures. They know how to sell. You got to train them, guys. Constantly be training these guys on how to sell a job. Both your people answering your phones, as well as your individuals out on the truck. Very, very easy to get lax on training your guys out on the truck. That's something, we've been guilty of it, and it's something we're trying to enforce now. It gets to be a lot more difficult. I did say trying there. It gets to be much more difficult if you've let that slide to get guys to buy into a system. So you want to be involved with them. You want to be very obsessed. You want to make sure things are being done correctly. Be fanatical on training. Again, you yourself can only do so much. You're only so valuable. Let's use somebody that's an employee, that's one of our team members. That individual is only so valuable to our company on what they themselves can do. They're infinitely valuable if they can train others to do what they do. Somebody becomes almost irreplaceable to our company, to me and our businesses, if they can train 10 guys or 10 girls on how to achieve what they do. Much, much more valuable. So be fanatical on training. Train your people really well, and then identify other people that are able to further train your people. And that's when you've got an awesome organizations forming. That's when you're going to get to millionaire status. And actually, if you do that, you're going to blow millionaire out of the water. That's when you may be able to achieve $10 million net worth. Trust your gut, but verify with data. Hey guys, any entrepreneur out there that starts a business from the ground up, unless you have a long corporate background, you're going to rely on your gut. And your gut is going to get you in business. Your gut's going to get you successful, but your gut also is going to cap the amount you can actually grow if you don't verify that data. If you're constantly changing direction, if you're doing Google ads one day, spending $1,000 on Google ads, and then that one day you don't get a whole lot of work, so you say, cut it, I don't want to spend any, it ain't going to be successful. You've got to be even keel. You have to look at it data. You're not going to get realistic advertising data or data in anything in general and anything short of 3 months. And it's probably even closer to 6 months. Little calibrations are going to be made. You guys cannot be making these rapid changes in your business on a day-by-day or a week-by-week basis. It's just not going to happen. Your gut is responsible for that. So you see something your competitor's doing, you feel like, hey, they're doing it. They seem like they're busier than me right now because I've been slow. I'm going to run off and do it in that direction. The other thing you do is with your gut, you change too much at once. You might make one good change, but you also do another change that's a bad change. You don't want to, if you can help it, you don't want to do 2 changes at once. Change one thing, give it at least a few weeks, hopefully a few months. 3 months is great. See if it works. And if it works, great. You're going to keep running with that. And then you change the second thing. And if the second thing works, fantastic. If it doesn't, you stop the second, you change out a third thing. So I am talking about constant improvement. What I'm not talking about is improving too much at once because you're never really sure what works and what doesn't. Trust your gut, but verify it with data. And finally, guys, I've said it before, don't try and save your way to this. You're not going to pinch a penny and turn it into $1 million. It's just not going to happen. Matter of fact, you pitch a penny too hard, it's going to break in two, and then it's worthless. So you don't want to look at, hey, I just don't want to spend this money. You've got to purchase based on value. What value is this going to bring? Let's bring Aaron in as an example right here. Aaron's got a computer that's a little slow. He doesn't like me talking bad about his computer, but his computer.
You can bad talk his computer.
Okay. So his computer, it's an Apple computer. I don't know, how old is it? 7 years? 8 years?
8 years.
It's 8 years old. So, I mean, you buy I think this is my first decent computer I've ever gotten. It was about $1,200, which I thought was a lot for a computer. But with what Aaron's got going on, I noticed how slow his computer is being. I said, Aaron, we probably need to get you a new computer so you can broadcast this stuff quicker, these YouTube live episodes. And then the main thing is video editing. It just takes a lot of time. I was like, you're worth too much to be sitting around waiting on this thing to to edit. And I was like, what's a new computer going to cost? And he said, well, it depends. We can spend as much or as little as you want. He was like, minimum $6,000. And $6,000 to me on a computer, that's a heck of a lot of money, but you got to remember it's going to allow us to do a lot more, which is going to increase our sales. Same thing on trucks. When you guys go out and purchase a truck, if you're looking at buying a $5,000 truck, that truck is cheap. It might get you going, but that thing's going to be breaking down every time you turn around. It's going to cost you time, and it's going to cost you money. So instead, we're still using Aaron's computer. I'm willing to spend the $6,000, but he says, hey, Apple's supposed to be coming out with something here soon, a new release. They haven't had a release in since 2013?
Yep.
They haven't had a new Mac Pro put out since 2013. So let's see if they announce this thing when they're going to release, and then we'll do it. We'll buy it. And I think they were supposed to announce something on the 25th, but they didn't, did they?
No, so it'll probably be June.
Yeah. So we might go ahead and buy him a computer. We're adding more video people. We're already about to add a second video person probably in the next few months. So in that case, we might get Aaron that computer, and then when the new one comes out, we'll buy him the brand new one that's really performing, and we'll give the other guy that one. But that's just an example of where if I was afraid to spend that amount of money, if I was like, hey, there's no way I'm going to spend $6,000, we'd keep going on with this computer. It's going to slow us down. It's going to cost us money. Don't be afraid to invest in something that's going to earn you more money. Look at the value it's going to give you. Now, if you're evaluating a personal car and you're like, all right, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get an $80,000 Land Rover or Range Rover, an $80,000-$90,000 Range Rover, or I can go and buy a $50,000 Ford Explorer. One, do you really need the Range Rover or the Ford Explorer? If you're not at that level where you've achieved yet, I would really suggest you go with a $40,000 or $50,000 vehicle because it's not earning you any money. It might make you feel better about yourself, which does mean something. If you're riding around in a really nice vehicle, that means something. But I'll be honest with you, in my top of the line F-150 Lariat pickup truck sitting out there with leather seats and heated seats, cooled seats, and navigation, and I mean all the bells and whistles. I feel as good in that $45,000 vehicle as I would in a $90,000 Range Rover, and that's fine. So when I was riding around in my '91 Chevy pickup truck, I didn't feel all that good about myself, and so that's not a good thing. You want to feel good about yourself, but you don't have to take it excessive. Look at value, not at what you're spending. And guys, a lot of you are not going to like this, especially I got quite a bit of it in my pocket, but all this has been taxes have been paid on this stuff. Right here. This cash, this don't need to be going in your pocket. This meaning you need to be reporting all your income. If you don't report all of your income, what happens is one, you got to spend this money. This money right here, you can't put this in a bank if it's earned illegally. If you start depositing, you shouldn't. I mean, definitely not checks, but even cash. I mean, if you guys start making a lot of cash, you don't want to stick this in the bank account because that's creating a paper trail. So instead what happens, and I know some of you guys are out there, you got you a little vacation fund that you're going to save on your cash. You're going, you figure, all right, I'm going to take a vacation, and whatever cash I earn, I'm going to spend on that vacation. Well, you could do a vacation and you could spend $3,000 or $4,000, but heck, you got $15,000 in cash. So we're going to go on a crazy vacation here that probably is not going to pack any more value in. Guys, pocketing cash, I hate paying taxes as much as you do, I promise, probably more. And I will try and find every single legal loophole out there not to pay it. The key word there is legal. You guys pocketing cash, you're limiting yourself because you're afraid of earning a lot more money, because then you're like, I'm going to have to report taxes. When I report taxes, I'm making a 30% cut. Go ahead and do the right thing. Get your book straight and start reporting all of your income. You're not going to limit your growth. When you're pocketing cash, you're limiting your growth. You're thinking small too, guys. You're not going to be able to take with so much cash. Somebody starts paying you $1 million in cash, you ain't going to know what to do. You're going to be like old Pablo Escobar. Pablo's Pablo made tons of money, but he didn't know where to put it, and that's what got him in trouble. Got him in trouble. So, that's one of the main issues with cash there. We got any questions? All right. Okay. So I mentioned before, I talked to you about the Earnhardt Jr., the racing thing. He didn't have the tires. He didn't have the car capable of winning. So what you need to always ask yourself, are you where you need to be? If not, keep expanding. Keep advertising. Keep adding trucks. Keep adding people. Invest to get your gross up. So I think we've talked about this already, but advertising, people, trucks. Again, those are the three things right there. You do those three things right there, that's going to get your gross up. So what exactly do you need to pay attention to? What are the concrete steps of items? Obviously, people, trucks, and advertising. These are the three of the things. So you've got the advertising, trucks, people, and then you need to focus on selling on phone and your pricing. If you know how to sell, if you get your pricing up high, and you know how to sell on the phone, you're gonna be golden. And I've released some stuff on YouTube on handling these phone calls. You need to answer that phone, and you need to know how to sell. You do those things, you're going to be much, much closer to becoming a junk removal millionaire. Advertising. I mentioned before, somebody asked about the customers in Sacramento, how they were doing. And one of the things I told them is both of those guys are willing to spend money, invest, and expand. They're willing to try several different things. When you first get started on advertising, your market, Charlotte is despite Charlotte, North Carolina only being like 150 miles away from Raleigh, Charlotte is a completely different market from Raleigh. And then Greensboro is 100% different from both Raleigh and Charlotte. They're completely different markets. So what works in Charlotte doesn't necessarily work in Raleigh. Even though we've tried making it work from time to time, it's a different market. So you need to try, you need to try Google Ads. You need to try paid Facebook marketing. You need to try Yelp. I don't like Yelp. Those of you in California, with our call center, we've got several customers in California. And Yelp, what we are assisting them with is responding to these, and we're trying to figure out how the heck to price it, is responding to these Yelp inquiries. Here's what we found. If somebody messages you on Yelp in general, but especially in California, and you respond back to it, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get no response. But you are still getting work from Yelp. Don't forget about the people that are emailing you, but you're getting phone calls from your Yelp profile. And here's something else we've also found in California. Sometimes people will tell you they found you on Google, but what happened is they found your Yelp page on Google. They went to your Yelp page, they determined they were going to hire you, and they called you, and then they told you ultimately they initially found you on Google. Yelp in California is huge. Yelp in North Carolina isn't that big of a deal. In California, it is a pain in the ass, but it's going to bring you a lot of work. Focus in on it. Pay for it as long as you negotiate a little bit with them and you determine what you're going to get what's your best value. And even though Yelp tells you not to, try and get reviews. Get as many reviews as you can. Yes, a lot of them are going to get thrown out. 90, 80, 70% of your reviews that people post on Yelp might not get posted. You need to pay attention to it. What you do, though, is you try out those different advertising methods. You track your customer acquisition cost. You determine what has the lower customer acquisition cost. All else being equal, what's the lowest customer acquisition cost? If the Google customer is better than your typical Home Advisor or Yelp customer, keep spending a lot of money on Google if those CACs are pretty close. But if your customers are the same, if your Google customer and your Home Advisor and your Yelp customer are generally just the equal amount as far as being price sensitive, then focus most of your money on the lower CAC. And then once that money's been maxed out, then move on to your other services. I'm going to do a little shameless plug here for JRA. That's something that we are passionate about. Is we're passionate about finding what's right for you. Yes, if you come to us, we're going to try different things to make the initial service you hired work for you. If we can't make it work though, then nobody's going to be able to make it work. And we're going to recommend something else that we have. Facebook ads right now, guys. If these Facebook campaigns we're doing, this landing page is part of it. The first ones will be complete on April 15th, and then we're going to have more information to show everybody. But these things right here, they're so well branded in individual markets. We rebrand this for your company. It can't help but work if you're willing to spend a little money on boosting it and give it just a little bit of time, because people are going to remember these commercials, and you're going to get their email addresses, continually mail to them. Any questions before I move on? Not certain.
No.
No questions? Okay, gotcha. Okay. Last thing I'll talk about, or last couple things on advertising. As long as it breaks even, do it. This customer you got from Home Advisor, you might think you don't make a whole lot of money on Home Advisor, but if you get one customer from Home Advisor, that customer, if they didn't go with you, they're going to go to a competitor. And I'm not one of these guys saying you got to cut your competitor's throat at every single turn. But I mean, listen, guys, that's part of the deal. If you're not out there getting these customers, it's going to somebody else. Somebody else is reaping the benefits. You need to be out there to get wherever you can and get jobs. You need to be out there getting them. So I answered this question a little bit before, but I will put it up here. Depending on your area, you can get 280K, or let's say 250K, 250K. Maybe as high as 400K, depending on your market. Got Junk might be able to achieve 400K per truck, but let's say for most locally owned companies that are not Got Junk, 250K to 350K a year per truck. And then at some point, you're going to need a backup truck. If you get about 4 trucks in operation, you really need a backup. It's hard to do. Heck, we're at the number of trucks we have, we don't really have a backup. We've ordered 3 new trucks, so I think finally that 3rd truck might give us a backup. All this new advertising we're doing, this Mr. Junk campaign, Facebook and all, maybe not. We still might need another one. I'm going to try and get us a backup truck. But the nice thing is all these are brand new trucks. They shouldn't really be breaking down much compared to our slightly aged fleet. So I mentioned before, kind of running the math here. If you wanted $1 million in sales and you're averaging 250K per truck, you're going to need 4 trucks for $1 million. But the nice thing is once you start averaging, if you can average 300K, you're still going to need, 4 trucks, but you're going to be a heck of a lot closer with 3. And then at 4th, you're going to have a lot better capacity to grow. If you're averaging $400 per job, you're going to be able to do $1.2 million on 3 trucks. That's why average job is so important. Doing the math is extremely important on this. And your projections here, guys, if you guys are projecting that you want to do a certain amount in sales and it looks like you're growing at that rate to do that, you got to remember that if you're going to order these new trucks, they're 2 or 3 months out generally on getting them. We can help you get a new truck if you like. Email Lee@JunkRA.com. But they're 2 or 3 months out. So you got to kind of plan ahead if you're going to be able to achieve your revenue targets. People, I mentioned this before, always be hiring people, always have hiring open. Look for great people, superstars. When you first start, you might have to settle a little. I'm realistic here, guys. I'm not one of these guys saying in a job market with 3% unemployment that everybody you hire is going to be part of a dream team. But you get people, you get good enough guys at the start, and then you keep interviewing, and you're going to come across some superstars, some Aarons. Aaron started down on the drunk team. You're going to come across some of those guys, and you need to jump on them. Even if you don't think you have the time, get that dude hired, get him in your organization. Maybe he's going to find a way to increase sales for you. If not, somebody that's underperforming, their hours get cut, they get let go, whatever. You need to kind of treat it like a sports team, and the only way to do that is if you're always hiring. And we haven't yet, some of the stuff I tell you, we ourselves haven't done because it takes time and resources to do it. Hiring campaigns, creating a hiring campaign is on our agenda because it is putting an Indeed ad up or a Craigslist ad up just isn't working anymore. We used to be able to throw a Craigslist ad up. We'd get 10 applications and 2 or 3 would be good. Now we spend $1,000 a month on Indeed and we might find 1 or 2 decent hires. So you need some sort of advertising campaign to try and reach these really good guys. Maybe it's an incentive campaign for your guys. Typically, if you have good guys, they're going to know other good guys. Make their incentive campaign. Hey, you come here, you work for us at least 3 months. I'm going to pay you. There's going to be $1,000 bonus to you, and I'm going to get the guy that referred you is going to get $1,000 too. You got to spend money to get good people, guys. That goes back to don't be afraid to do that. So. One of the last things I'll add, we got just a few minutes. We got about 10 minutes remaining. So, guys, any last questions, please go ahead and get in. One thing that I say oftentimes is in business, you have to be impatient and patient. So you need to be impatient on actually achieving tasks, but you need to be patient on monitoring the results and achieving your overarching goal. Increasing or make sure things are being run efficiently and that you're constantly improving, but don't change too much at all at the same time. I mentioned that before. And then test results and be very analytical. Again, everything about business, or most things about business, is numbers. It's numbers and people. You get those two things right, you know your numbers, know how to achieve them, you're able to do the math, and you get good people, you're going to achieve success in business. Trust your instinct and verify. We're touching on some stuff we did before, just kind of recapping here. And then instead of making large changes and big changes all at the same time, make little tweaks as you go. So like when we started JRA, the initial vision of JRA is, and what we were going to do is different. And I didn't make it completely rigid. At the start, you don't necessarily want a really, really rigid vision, because then you're not able to make changes if you see opportunity. So when we first started, we were like this really, really windy river. Just going from left to right, just kind of winding around. Sometimes I think we do a 180 and then it would cross itself in like a figure 8. But now it's more like a gentle stream. It just kind of little pivots here and there, just kind of little pivots. That's how you need to get your business established. And one thing I'm going to tell you, a little bit of motivation right here. You're generally going to achieve what you truly believe you can achieve. Now, if you're telling yourself you can make $1 million a year, but you don't really believe it, you're not going to hit it. But if you're 100% confident you can make $1 million a year, if you totally believe that, and if you're able to crush self-doubt, because self-doubt is going to sneak in. Self-doubt, I've learned, a little self-doubt sneaks in. I've learned how to just physically, you feel it almost right here in the pit, right here in your heart almost is where kind of that self-doubt comes in, or maybe in the pit of your stomach. And I've just learned how to, I don't know if it's a chemical thing I'm doing or what, but I've learned how to control my body where I can just crush that immediately. It sneaks in for 30 seconds, a minute, maybe on a bad day, 10 minutes, and then I'm able to crush it. You're going to have to learn to do this. If you guys are going after this big stuff, you're going to constantly be out of your comfort zone, which is uncomfortable, and you're going to have self-doubt that sneaks in because of that. You got to crush that. And the people that are around you, if you got negative people around you, you got people constantly around you telling you can't achieve something, you need to get them out of your life. First thing, you try to tell them, hey, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear why I can't do this or why you can't do something, whatever. And then if they are continue to be negative, you got to push those people out, because they're going to take away from what you yourself can achieve. That's robbing you and your family from the life that you could be having. Negativity can for sure do that. Write down, track your goals daily. When you complete your goals, set new ones. Be extremely tight on spending money. I told you guys not to pinch pennies, but when it comes to spending money on things that are not going to bring you value, be extremely tight on. Spend like crazy. Open your pocketbook up to things that are going to bring in more money, and your business is going to expand like crazy. And I mentioned just a little while ago, guys, get out of your comfort zone and stay out of your comfort zone. If you're in that comfort zone, if you're doing things you're 100% comfortable with, you're limiting your growth. You're never going to be comfortable when you're in a growth stage. Always stay uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. You're going to achieve a lot of great things. We got any final questions at all? Guys, really appreciate each and every one of you for watching today's episode. I hope that it allowed you to believe that becoming a millionaire in junk removal is possible, because it is. And I hope that with that, you guys run some of these numbers. You quit pocketing a bunch of this cash. You start hiring people. You add trucks, and you add good trucks. You see value rather than cost. If you can do all that, then you're going to be on your way to a very successful business. And it's going to make me and everybody here at JRA really happy that we're able to contribute to you guys improving your lives, improving your income, and we hope that we can play at least a small part in it. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 noon Eastern Time. You can always give us a call at 919-617-1975. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, guys. That way you get notified every time we go live and bring up a new piece of information. And then like us over there at Facebook also. We're going to start putting out a lot more stuff here in Facebook real soon. 919-617-1975. Visit us at JunkRA.com. I am Lee Godbold. This is Junk Removal Authority, and you have been on Making Hay with JRA. We'll see y'all next week.